Hi everyone, thanks for coming. Welcome to the panel, Modern Day Young Chefs Paying Your Dues Up Front. I'm Richard Martin, I'm the editorial director of Food Republic in New York City. I put this panel together because I've been pretty fascinated by the generational shift that's going on in the chef world, where things like social media and the internet and just sort of a general change in the system have led to younger and younger chefs rising to the top of the kitchen faster and faster. In some cases, starting their own restaurants when they're only in their 20s and succeeding very well. So I put together, I reached out to some great chefs, and luckily my first choices all came through, and they are to my immediate left, Ludo Lefebvre, who of course is from Los Angeles, as you just saw in that segment. He has 3 restaurants now, right?
Yes.
Trois Mec.
Petit 3, 3 familiar.
Trois Familia.
And Ludo Bird.
And what?
Ludo Bird.
Oh, what's that one?
The fried chicken.
Fried chicken. He's been talking about it for a while. And then to Ludo's left is Alexis Chang, who's the chef de cuisine at Foreign and Domestic. If any of you are from Austin, you're certainly familiar with that restaurant. It's consistently ranked one of the best, and Alexis has earned national attention for cooking at a very young age. And then at my far left is Eric Bruner-Yang, who 5 years ago, what's that?
I said good morning.
5 years ago, Eric started Toki Underground in Washington, D.C. and helped get a pretty major city that was probably by most standards, like not keeping up with a lot of the other major cities' food scenes. And Eric is largely credited with helping move DC forward with Toki and bringing it that kind of edge that the city needed. And then he followed just a year ago with Mikado, which is one of the more intriguing restaurants in the country, in my opinion, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So first of all, I just wanted to get into some of the ideas about why this culture is changing. I mean, somebody like Ludo, still a very young man, obviously, but has, he worked a lot in French kitchens. He went through the whole kind of rigorous training system, and then, but really the most success you've had has come from, starting a Twitter account and then doing pop-up restaurants in LA, and that really got you started. It got you national attention. There were some famous articles in both like LA and New York, including the New York Times, where people like Sam Sifton and Frank Bruni came out and raved about your cooking. What made you make that leap from just doing the regular kitchen thing to starting a website, or starting a website and Twitter account, and then doing these pop-ups?
Hello everybody. So first of all, the pop-up the concept came by accident. I was looking to open my own restaurant and take a lot of time to raise money, find a location, deal to sign a lease with landlord is a nightmare. They want to steal your money, make them rich. I don't want that. But I take this little bakery in Los Angeles on 3rd Street, and my friend was the owner of the bakery, and I asked him if I can use this restaurant the night and cook over there for 3 months. Like 4 days a week, and after that, so to get the buzz for that, my wife we started to use social media, but we started in 2007, and it was a time when Twitter was just started, and you see all these people at the restaurant taking pictures. I never seen that in my life before. Like it was just like on the red carpet on the premiere of the movies, and you see these people taking pictures, and the next day you are on their website online and people talking about you. So that was a very big help for me to get a lot of attention with all these bloggers, because nobody knew at that time I was doing a pop-up. So actually I was pretty excited about that, to have a lot of attention with all these bloggers taking picture, and the next day you're on their blog and people talking about that, on Eater, and it really helped. So social media really helped me to create this concept of the pop-up restaurant by accident.
Now, Eric, did you use social media when you launched Toki? Was that an important part of the opening plan?
Toki, we got lucky just because we were in a real food-starved city. And we were the only ramen shop in the District of Columbia by the time we opened in 2011. So we really didn't have to do anything except, hey, we're opening a ramen shop in Washington, D.C. But when we did Mikado, we did a lot of pop-ups. We did maybe 15 months worth of pop-ups, all different types of pop-ups. We would do food halls where we would just make steam buns. We would do residencies at restaurants from 3 months to 6 months at a time. And we did those all over Washington, D.C. We did them in Philly. We did them in Baltimore. We did them in Richmond, Virginia. We really did those things because there's so many restaurants that open all of the time. And we just wanted to stay relevant. And we had so much money involved into making Mikado that I had this huge anxiety that when we'd open, no one would come because Toki was such a great hit. It was my second restaurant where I was really trying to get away from the guy that just makes noodles to people could see me as a guy that could actually cook. So we really spent a lot of time kind of changing that message through social media and pop-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting, having been in the food media for years now, just how important, the role of pop-ups and social media have been. I'm wondering, Alexis, you went to culinary school. Is that something that they talked about at all in your training?
I graduated culinary school in 2001, so I feel like that was a little bit before the social media bubble happened for pop-ups and stuff to be talked about at that time.
But when you started, becoming a professional chef, when did that kind of get onto your radar that this is something that was happening?
I was real busy in the kitchen, so I didn't spend a lot of time on the internet, but I had influence from family and friends telling me to go to a place or check this out, that kind of stuff. So it was early 2000s in Seattle is where I kind of started to follow those food trends.
So you're an interesting case for this panel because you really have followed the kind of traditional path. Like you went to culinary school, you worked your way up in kitchens, you moved to Austin, how many years ago?
7 years ago now.
And you worked your way up into the kitchens, and now you've gotten this job in the past, 6 months or so. What was it like for you, do you think of it as having been a hard road that you've taken to get here?
It's definitely a challenge, but for myself, it's always been something that I've been very passionate about. So even though I struggle, with coworkers or day-to-day life of working in the kitchen, it's fulfilling and rewarding to me, and so that's why I continue to kind of put myself through it.
Now, Ludo, can you tell us a little bit about, I'm sure you're getting approached all the time by people and ask, should I go to culinary school? How do I get to the top? What do you tell young people that want to get involved in cooking these days?
About culinary school, I have my own opinion, of course. I think you have some amazing school here in America, but you have some very bad one too. And I think it depends where you are going to cooking school. In France, the cooking school, the teacher is 70 years old. There's a teacher who has experience. Have a restaurant before, know about the life in the kitchen. Here in America, we have some teachers there are 28, 26. Actually, I know some teachers, I don't say where or what, but they are cooking with me for 6 months and they are terrible cook. And after I just turn around and I see that they are a teacher. So, but we have some good school too, like I think like the one in New York, CIA, it's a great school. But I say to the kid, I think it's good to go to school, but to learn basic. But they don't really teach you how to be within the kitchen. Like they don't focus on detail. Like all the students who come to my kitchen after school 2 years, they don't know how to use a knife. They don't. You know, they just have no speed, no knife skill, nothing. They're just sad. They don't know how to do nothing. And I think the school in America, they don't focus on just on one style of cooking, but on a lot. They teach them French, Asian, Spanish, all these different kind of food. They understand it's a lot different culture in America, you know, but they don't have the base.
Do you think it's hurting the culinary world that chefs are taking these kind of shortcuts and not going and learning their knife skills and working, you know, staging in kitchens in Europe or whatever?
Look, I mean, I've never been in school in America. I don't know what they teach them, but I'm surprised the kids, the students, they don't really have discipline. Because the kitchen, you know, sometimes they're just not dressed very well. They don't say hi to the chef.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think
But
that's...
you know, it just, I don't know, the new generation, I don't know if it's the school or the teacher, but it's driving me nuts. They have no discipline, disrespect. I mean, they think they know everything. They think they already know a chef. I mean, it's amazing to me.
Now, I don't want to cause any fights up here, but Eric, I have to ask you, what do you think about what Ludo's saying? I mean, you just kind of like went for it, right? And you did work in some kitchens, but you didn't do the traditional path.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday because I kind of had a feeling it would come up. I mean, I've always worked in restaurants since I was 15. As soon as it was legal for me to work, I was like, I'm going to go to work because I didn't want to be held back by anyone's rules. So, like, if my mom said I couldn't do something, it's like, you know, because it was either I didn't have a car or she didn't want to give me money, you know, I could resolve all of those things on my own accord. And so, I've always worked in restaurants, and I used that to go pay myself through college. And you know, my original passion was always music, and the restaurant industry always lended a good place. You know, you can play music and work in a restaurant. But I was that stubborn kid without discipline, and I job hopped a lot through college, working in different, you know, mom and pop kitchens, and I would have fired a kid like me a million times. And it happens, but you know, I still think about the guys that were like super hard on me, and I'm like, and you know, you take away a lot of those lessons. And there's always people particularly in my kitchen, who I put a lot more pressure on because I see a lot of myself in them, where maybe they talk back more than I would normally let someone talk back to me, or you know, they're maybe always 15 minutes late. I was always 15 minutes late. But you're hoping that like you could be that guy to kind of, to pull it back around, because you see a lot of themselves in you, but you know, that's like 1 out of every 50. But you know, I always worked really hard on my own time to get to the skill level where I felt like I could cook along with my peers, because I didn't have that experience of a guy teaching me how to make an omelet all day, or peel potatoes properly, or do all those things, because the places I worked at weren't at a high caliber. And you know, I still, like, you know, yesterday, I helped out at Key because I just really wanted that experience of just continuing to go somewhere where someone just asks me to do one project for 5 hours, because you know, it's good for me. And I don't get to do that every day because I'm managing 50 people, you know, 50, 60 people, and I don't have 5 hours to do something.
Yeah, I mean, that was another impetus for me wanting to do this panel. One of my favorite cookbooks is Alfred Portali's Gotham Grill Cookbook, and in the introduction he talks about how he went to France and he basically like peeled potatoes for 6 months straight. Like, went to work, his job was to peel potatoes, and then he moved to another station. And you know, I think it's interesting that that was the way you kind of got to where you were. I mean, when I launched Food Republic, I did it with Marcus Samuelson, and Marcus had a similar thing where he went to Switzerland and Germany and worked in Michelin-starred restaurants, and that was, you know, you basically did one thing, and even if you just made one little mistake, you often got abused for it. So I want to talk about that a little bit. I mean, have you guys, has anybody on the panel, I'm sure we may have some stories, Alexis maybe, have you ever like been abused in a kitchen, like verbally abused, physically abused?
We'll say all yes at the same time.
Yes.
Yes, a lot.
Like, what did you do? Do you think that it was justified to get yelled at?
Yes and no. I mean, look, when I was a kid, I was a punk and a little bit, and thank God I was abused. You know, it put me in the right direction. I learned about discipline. You know, trust me, I was on time every day. I was clean. I was just yes. I'm very happy I was abused. Maybe it was a little too much sometimes, little too much. But you know, sometimes you just not just abuse physically. The worst is when you abuse. When people talk with you, put you down, or the way talk with you in front of everybody in the kitchen. Don't need to scream to be abused. Don't need that. Just to put somebody down, just talking with him. Like, it's yes. I mean,
Alexis, what's happened to you, and how did you handle it?
Definitely when I was younger and I was externing for culinary school, I spent some time in a kitchen in San Francisco for Chef Michael Mina at Upfront. And the line cooks there were very stern because their cook space was their cook space, and I needed to cook sushi rice, which soaks for an hour, and then it needs to be low, and then crank it up, and then you smell burning rice, and now you have to start the project over again, and teaches you time management, teaches you to remember to check your product every 5-7 minutes, don't rely on your other cooks. But also I believe that it's, when they start picking on you, you're kind of integrating into the team unit, and it kind of is inspiring, but at the same time, you know, you just gotta continue moving forward and growing and progressing, otherwise, kind of what's the point in what we're doing every day?
What about you, Eric? Have you been abusive towards your chefs?
Have I been abusive?
Yeah.
A lot of them say I have this like Asian mom glare, which they like know instantly, like it's worse than yelling. You know, it's like this look. Both our kitchens are open kitchens, so all of our, you know, way we kind of get at each other is more visual than verbal. But my kind of conversations are more when I'm just really disappointed in someone, not because they made a mistake, because I'm just disappointed in them as a person, because we invest so much time in someone. And when the chef's yelling at you because you messed up one potato, it's really just, yes, they care about the potato, but they really just are trying to push you to the next level. And I think young kids these days, younger people these days, they just don't know how to react to that, because we live in more buffers. And I kind of get it, you know, I understand.
you know, in my time, you know, 20 years ago, you have no choice to get abused. If you don't get abused, you don't get a job, you don't get a resume. You know, 30 years ago, you don't have internet, you don't have a cookbook. You have no choice to learn from the best. A 3-star Michelin restaurant in France. And trust me, if you decide you don't want to be abused, or you tell the chef to just enough, you don't find a job after. You burn. It's like a French mafia in France, and you want to work in the 3-star Michelin restaurant or 2-star Michelin restaurant, you don't get any job. So you better to just put your head down and just say, oui chef. Whatever you say oui chef, and that's it. So you don't find a job after. But if you get abused and you take it very well, after you're going to have a long career. Trust me. Oh yeah.
Well, how is it for you now? I mean, how does that reflect on how you've become as a boss and you know, the chef that runs, you have 3 restaurants, you must have chefs working pretty independently, and you must drop in and see them. What if you see something you don't like, how do you react?
I take a Xanax.
So you don't yell at them?
No, you know, I'm getting old, I'm more calm now, I have kids, so I'm coming to the restaurant, I'm more tired, so you know, it's good. It's good for them, trust me. But you know, but at the end of the day, I don't want to abuse people. I don't want to do what people do to me before. I think you have a better way to really teach people, to teach them and to make them feel in love with cooking, you know, to talk with them, sitting down. I mean, chef now, I feel like I'm a doctor for the head, like a, how you call it?
Psychologist.
Yes.
Psychologist. Every day I mean, as my assistant, everybody come to see me to talk about their life. Chef, I don't have money anymore, I don't have a condo, my mom, machin. I mean, it's insane. It's insane, seriously. Every day I go to a restaurant, I'm missing cook, or it's just, I don't know you guys, but it just, huh? Yeah, but 30 years ago too, it was like, but I was so scared to lose my job. Like, still when I was sick, I was going to walk. I'm still, one day I have a thing around the neck, you know. I was so scared to lose my job, so I go walk with that. It was like this at that time. You don't want to lose your job, you know. But now I just, I try to really take care of my people, you know, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be, I've heard this a lot in New York, and as I've traveled around, that chefs have, young cooks have a sense of entitlement. It's making it harder to run restaurants the way they need to be run.
But I think the key now for the chef is really to find, and now hire people around 40 years old. They have kids, they're settled in life. It's good, it's good. I realized that when I hire a chef de cuisine at 25, it's a disaster. Disaster. They are getting drunk the night, drug, whatever. So now I really care about how old you are. Do you have a kid, do you have a wife? No, it changed, really, it changed. You know, I want to hire people more settled in life. It changed a lot to me. So it really helped my wife. Young kid, they are talented, but they're just not serious. They're not serious at all. It's just, I cannot take it anymore. I don't know you, but...
Yeah, I think I changed once I got married and had a kid pretty quickly. But it also is like, you know, I opened Tokyo Underground, I was 26, and everyone I hired was my friends, you know, people that I had worked with prior, or people I knew in the neighborhood. Our general manager, he was the drummer in my band. I knew him since junior high school. But I also learned that I had to carry myself differently. I couldn't go out with the team at the end of the night. I needed to go home. I had to lead by example. First in, first out. And I've always done that, and I continue to do that. And it's, you know, it's kind of weird, because especially for Toki, it's guys I've grown up with since 6th grade that I don't go and hang out with, but we're still family. But you know, you have to show them. You have to be the guy that carries the structure for the whole crew. Because if I'm crazy, then everyone's crazy.
What about the role of television? What has television done to this environment? I mean, it's obviously made a lot of people want to get, this kind of cool kitchen culture that they see on TV. I mean, literally, you've been on television a lot, so maybe you're creating your own problems in a way, by like getting people to want to like go straight into the kitchen when they probably need more of a training. Do you think television has helped or hurt the modern kitchen?
I mean, I think the television hurt, and a good way too. I mean, I think television really brings so much thing for people at home that really appreciate good food. I think Food Network did an amazing thing to just have people to teach in America how to eat, and really this lifestyle we have in Europe, in France, the art of living. We really live around the food in Europe. We're very passionate about that. And I'm here in America for 20 years now, and I think TV really helps the country to just really care a lot about food, and people have a lot of respect now about their food. They are very proud about what they're cooking. They're not just cooking now for Thanksgiving, they're cooking too every day, the weekend, celebration. It's every day, and I think the TV did a good job for that, for people at home. For the professional, for the young kid, I think it's good too, but also you have some negativity too. I can see a lot of young kids in my kitchen, they just care about be on TV, or apply to be on Top Chef, or want to be on the magazine, or they just care about that. And they forget to be a chef, to be a real chef, because a lot of people are a chef in this country, but are not a chef. Chef, it's really to take care of restaurant, make money, pay your people, but the most important thing, teaching. My first job as a chef is to teach. That's what is my job. But TV, I think, for some young kids, they just want to be a star on TV, and they forget what is to be patient. You know, I think to learn your job in the kitchen is to be patient, and I think TV don't really have that for the young new generation. Everybody wants to be on TV now. A lot of people. I mean, I don't know how you guys, but I feel like this. Like people want to be on TV.
Alexis, did you get into this at all because you were interested in being out there and maybe even getting on television?
I had never reached out personally. When I was working at Sxsw, I know that through all of the excitement and what was going on, that Top Chef had reached out and wanted me to apply with them. And I asked the owner management, and it was kind of like, oh, you're already Top Chef with us, kind of conversation, and / we wouldn't hold your job if you left to go do that, even though it could bring in publicity and all that kind of stuff in the restaurant. So I feel like personally, the television, the new generation of cooks, kids that are out there, thinks that they're ticket in, and that they're gonna be amazing and great by the end of it, when there's still all of the stuff that has to be learned on managing people, teaching people, keeping them encouraged, wanting to come back even though it was a rough service, and doing the same thing every day over and over again.
Do you have any issues with the team that you have now at Foreign and Domestic? I mean, are you finding that people are coming in and they're serious about their work, or are you getting some of these kind of like interlopers?
Austin's an interesting city to find. The talent pool is kind of flooded with culinary school graduates. There's, I feel like 3 at least, that are every 90 days churning out a new batch that thinks, oh, I'm a chef now because I have a piece of paper that I learned to make a stock once, and I did this thing one time, and they come out entitled, puffing their chests out, like I can do all of these things, but they can't show up on time. They can't prepare enough items for service. In the middle of service, something epically catastrophic happens, and it's kind of like, what happened? You wanted to be a cook, you chose that life, so why can't you not perform? But it's challenging, yes, and I get spoken to as if I'm in this millennial generation that's floating around out there, but I feel like I've worked through different phases of my career, and I've definitely earned kind of where I'm at in this culinary world that we live in, and it's definitely challenging, but I enjoy teaching the kids and helping them along. I remember my first jobs, maybe I wasn't so great, but there definitely was 5 key individuals that I'm still in contact with today from some of my first jobs that I call, hey, I'm stressed out about this, or help me figure out this, or that kind of stuff. And it's important to pass the torch and help encourage the next generation to be great, because you have to want it in yourself before you can go out there and be a part of that team that's going to help change the food trends and the scenes and what's going on out there. I'm proud of my team that I have. We struggle from time to time, but everybody struggles, and I just try to encourage them to be better than you were yesterday. Let's come in and do it again, and trying to move the wheel forward.
Another thing besides TV that's kind of changed the culture is the need to do more and more creative things to set yourself apart. And Eric, I wanted to talk a little bit about Mikado and what you did there, and why you chose to do something that's more than just a restaurant. Because I think it reflects this kind of generational shift, and it's certainly, without you meaning to, I mean, you're kind of a trendsetter in a way, because now a lot of other people are doing things that it's not just a restaurant, there's a retail component to it. So can you tell the audience a little bit about what Mikado is and what your thinking was behind it when you launched it?
We opened Mikado in 2015, April of 2015, and we call it a community marketplace that combines retail, a cafe, and a restaurant. And essentially, it's in Northeast DC. So historically, H Street Northeast was 15 straight blocks of commercial real estate back in pre-1960s, and that was kind of the hub of commercial property in Washington, D.C. And then after the Martin Luther King riots in the late 60s, all of it burned down, and they moved everything to Georgetown, which everyone is most familiar with when they come to DC. They moved it to Georgetown and 14th Street. So we really wanted to build something that would kind of reconnect this dialogue of what historically is this neighborhood that I live in. And so we built, you know, a menswear store in the front of our restaurant, and then it slowly transitions into this Taiwanese Cambodian restaurant. And then we have a coffee shop on the second floor. And it's basically a hotel with no rooms because, you know, we're essentially almost open 24 hours, kind of when the bar closes and the bakers show up. But it was important for me to do something like this in DC, which just doesn't have real nice things on an international level. When I travel to Paris, you know, we go to Coulette or Merci and all these places that are doing these really nice things, or we go to Tokyo, you see it in Tokyo, or Thailand, anywhere where real estate is really prime, and you have a lot of young people that want to do something a little bit bigger than a bistro, and they combine all these things that they love and that they can culturally speak on. And so that's what we did there, is to combine all of these things that were, you know, a part of DC culture, you know, new wave coffee, streetwear, a lack of no Cambodian restaurant within, you know, 90 miles. My wife's Cambodian, and it's like, you know, there's 45,000 Cambodians in the DMV, and no one wants to open a Cambodian restaurant. You know, like, you know, let's do something about this. But man, trying to explain that to people, and probably just trying to explain it right now, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And but once you see it, you know, it's like, oh, this is totally weird, but it's cool.
What about you, Ludo? Because when you started your restaurants with John and Vinny, you know, you didn't just do the traditional, like, let's get a really nice space and get like hire the top designer in town and do like this massive build out. You kind of picked, I mean, as some of you, if you saw the little video in the beginning, these places were kind of like in what, like strip malls, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean the street mall in LA, that's really the culture of LA. You know, you want to eat a good Japanese food, you go to a street mall. Say myself, why not to do a good French restaurant in the street mall, you know? And actually, I mean, it's a good businessman. You know, it's a street mall, the rent are not expensive, like you take a big building, when you have the rent is $30,000 and it's big, you know, I mean, it's no, I want to, street mall is a great concept for just a little restaurant, and I really want to focus on the quality of ingredients, and I don't want to do too much people. I just want to do 50 covers a night, that's it. And I'm not interested to do 200 covers, it's too much for me. I want to meet all the customer and create a little, like, I want people to feel like they're in my house. Like, you know, 3 meters is 1,000 square feet, that's it. 26 seats, that's it. So I already see all the customer. You have no wall between the kitchen and the customer. And like this, I do 50 covers a night. I control the quality. Everything is fresh every day, set menu, easy.
but you must get approached by like investors that want to do like the big Ludo restaurant. I mean, is that something that just would never interest you at this point?
I don't want to say it would never interest me, but now I'm not. Maybe later, maybe I will do one day, but now I'm not interested. I'm very happy like this. I am. I don't imagine actually to open a big restaurant when I already see the nightmare to have a 26-seat restaurant. The staff, everything, the customer, I don't imagine. So, no.
I mean, another thing that's kind of set your restaurants apart, I mean, I've been reading a lot about Trois Familia, and, you know, certainly it's connecting to the kind of young audience that's obsessed with food and that's reading all the different websites that are devoted to food. What was the thinking behind the menu there? Can you explain a little bit about what Trois Familia is and why you decided to do that?
Trois Familia, it's a new restaurant in Silver Lake in Los Angeles. Again, it's in the street mall, and we just take this place. It was a very, very famous Mexican restaurant for 22 years in LA. And with my partner, we decided to do a French Mexican restaurant to pay respect to the restaurant before. and it's just brunch. Just open at 8 to 3 o'clock, that's it. And just fun food. It's nothing is really complicated, but it's French flavor with a Mexican flavor. Of course, it's not authentic Mexican dishes or French dishes, but it's just fun. You know, I don't really take myself seriously anymore, and I just cook some good food. Nothing very fancy, very approachable. You know, it's very important for me to be very accessible, not too expensive. So yeah, to offer it's just a fun brunch restaurant. Brunch, that's it.
Another thing I think is interesting about this kind of world is how much like Instagram is driving it. How many people in this room have like taken an Instagram photo of their food? So, yeah, quite a few of you. Now for you guys as chefs and people that run kitchens, do you care about that? Do you want to make the food presentable in a way that you think people might actually shoot it and spread the word because of how your food looks on the plate?
I want to say something about the picture about the food. When I did my first pop-up in 2007, people are taking picture of the food. It was just the food was terrible. Because at that time it was just no good camera yet, the lighting, oh my god. I mean, I was
all like flip
so
phones.
stressed about that. Holy shit. You see the food and people just take that picture and put online. Ooh la 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 la. Then my wife decided after our third pop-up to create a space in the restaurant with a light box. So people can do special dishes, take your food over there, take a picture over there and come back to eat. Not because it was just a picture was so terrible. But now we have good picture. I mean, camera, technology, now it's much better, of course, you know. So
People still take a bad picture.
Alexis, do you have any feelings about it?
I think it's important to make the food presentable. That's, the eyes eat first. That's 80% of what people are taking the photo for, I feel. Or they're just posting to be seen in said restaurant or however that check-in works. But, that's just the generation that we're moving into is everybody's hashtagging or posting something about someone and where they're at. And it's exciting, yes, but it also, I feel for the generation of cooks, they're, just last week in my kitchen, chef said, hey, how come so-and-so employee just started following me 1 hour ago and he's on the clock? When you're not supposed to have your phone on your person while you're working. And it's like, hey, and it's just funny, because they're sneaking in to check their phone status and, hey, can I plug in my phone? And, oh, I need my phone because it's a timer, and I need my phone, and I need my phone. It's like, no, the rules are rules. You don't have your phone on your person. There's no need for it. You're at work to work. And, but yeah, posting social media stuff is definitely more important for some people than it is their job.
it's a good way to check what's going on in your restaurant. Like, trust me. I mean, after I'm going to check Instagram, tell them to our family, and I see what's going on. People take picture. Last week I see a picture of the food. I was so mad about what I saw. I called my chef, look at this one, look at this picture, what's going on there? Why the legs look like shit? Why machin? Oh yeah, that's good for us to check too what's going on in the restaurant, chef. I mean,
Yeah. Poorly cut sandwiches, overcooked eggs.
So it's a spy, it's an elaborate spy network set up by chefs to check on their.
It's like free security camera.
that's right. That's right.
Eric, do you care about it at all? I mean, you go into like pre-shift meetings and talk about, hey, let's make the food presentable, or does it matter at all?
No, I don't think either of my restaurants really lend to that. But like if you go to the Mikado Instagram, which is Mikado 13 at Mikado 1351, it's insanely curated Instagram because it's run like it's a retail brand. So it's going to look like if you're looking at Supreme's Instagram or Adidas's Instagram or any type of retail brand's Instagram, where everything is professionally photographed and edited. There's not a single Mikado post on Instagram that's an iPhone photo. And we do that because that's the kind of caliber of what that restaurant needs to be to kind of fit into the retail world, not necessarily the food world. Because here you're going to get a picture of Chinese donuts, and the next day you're going to see a picture of a pair of Raf Simons, and then it'll go back to dumplings, and yet it all has to kind of have that same photo content. But Toki's kind of like not that. But it's important. I want to be able to post on Instagram right now that I'm at the Driscoll, and X amount of people come to this event, and you use all of these avenues for promotion. My wife gives me a really hard time that I have like all of these Facebook friends, and it's like, well, I don't know who any of them are, but the feed is amazing. The Facebook feed is amazing, but also because you're using it to advertise. If today's Pie Day, so we're posting about pies. Go buy pies at Mikado, and you're using your network for sales. So essentially, it's for sales.
So I want to open up to some questions. If anybody wants to think of some, I'll throw it out to you guys. But before we do that, I wanted to ask this just real quick. Like, any regrets about the path that you guys have taken? You wish that Eric, you wish you would have studied more, or maybe worked in fine dining before you went and did this, or Alexis, do you wish you had just opened up a food truck instead of going to culinary school? And Ludo, you obviously have been through the whole gamut. And do any of you guys have any regrets or feelings about the way your path has gone?
I'll go first because I don't always feel like my skills are adequate enough on a broad spectrum, and I don't have the time always to work on that. And so when I do have the time, or I try to do a lot of events because I want to see what chefs I admire are doing, and how they're doing them, and how they work, how they organize, how they plan. And that's the only way that I can still continue to learn, because I'm only 31 and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. If someone asked me to make a chocolate souffle, I would just fucking stare at them, And I'm comfortable with that to still say I don't know that, but I'm if you need help, I'll do something else. And then it's like, oh yeah, maybe I need to go figure out how to do a chocolate souffle in case next time X, Y, and Z at this thing needs me to go do that for them. And so I don't really regret it because life is good, but I wish that I constantly would try to put myself, continue to learn, and I know I don't know everything.
Alexis?
I definitely don't regret the path that I've chosen, because I've always known that this is what I want to do. Have there been struggles along the way? Definitely, but they definitely encourage you to continue learning and building yourself up. And not always is the job that you've chosen, because I've had candy store jobs, retirement home jobs, restaurant jobs, hotel jobs, back to independent restaurant jobs. Not always were they the right, that's where I'm going to retire kind of an establishment, but picking up skills along the way, the skill sets, and working with people and understanding how to manage people in all different facets of the restaurant industry have definitely helped build me to, at the age of 34, be able to manage and operate a monstrous restaurant like Sxsw for the first 3 years that they were in existence, and being comfortable enough to manage that crew of just kitchen people, being at least 50 to 75 people, including prep cooks, dishwashers, cooks, your sous chef team, management, and upward. And now being again in a smaller house, working at Foreign and Domestic with just 45 seats, open kitchen concept, chef's very determined and knows exactly what he wants, and I think he pushes every individual to get the best out of them. Sometimes inappropriately, but he knows exactly what he wants, and he expects that. So when we don't deliver, someone needs to answer for that. And, I feel like it's giving me tools for whatever's next for me. ... I don't know what that is, but it'll be amazing whenever it is happening. So.
I'm so happy I learned my job in France. Be abused for like almost 13 years in France. I moved in America in '96. I'm so happy to be here in America. I think I'm very successful because this country, because here in America, you give chance to young people, and I be a chef. I was a chef at 26 years old, and I think it was a little too young for me to be a chef, but I made it. But the thing is, the pop-up, we talk about the pop-up. I'm so happy I did a lot of pop-up before I opened my own restaurant, because I learned a lot about how to operate a business, really the business side, because I was when I was doing pop-up, it was my own money, and so trust me, when it's your own money, you count everything, you learn. Because in France, I learned a lot about cooking, but never really about business, and here in America, I work with a big group, the Tower Group, and I learned a lot about business and really how American, you guys are so organized. French people who are not. So I'm so happy I learned that when I was doing my pop-up. It really gave me time to understand what I want to do, and LA is a fantastic city because we have a lot of freedom here in LA. I mean, in this country, I think the American people are very open, not like the French. The French are very closed, they think we are the best or whatever, but in America, I like it. You have a lot of liberty in this country. And like I said, I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so happy I opened my restaurant older, because I learned a lot, and I did a lot of mistakes before, but with the money of the other people. I was working for people, so it was good. So I learned my job, and after I opened my own restaurant, I was very patient before to open my restaurant. For me, it was about training. So I'm very thankful. I was very patient to wait, to know my job very well, not just cooking, but also management, and be a leader, because be a chef is to be a leader, not just cooking. So I'm very thankful about that. No, I'm okay. So I learned.
Does anybody have, if you want to, is the microphone working?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Food allergies. I wanted to know, as a lover of food and also someone who is got a lot of food allergies, how does that affect your restaurant? How could I tactfully come in to your space and ask? A lot of times there are things written out very well, corn syrup, there's it says Brussels sprouts, but it's laid on a piece of bread. It's not listed on the menu. How can I come respectful of the values? Because I want to learn, but then I have issues, allergies. Like how do I come and ask you politely, or how does that affect you?
Oh, you go first, guys.
It is our job to accommodate you. So you just say what you're allergic to, and our industry is to serve. Granted, we like to print these really cryptic menus. We print cryptic menus so we can kind of do the same dish without having to reprint the menus if we have to change a few things out, or say, we have a lot of extra bread, so today we'll put it with the Brussels sprouts, but we don't want to reprint the menu. Something I actually really, they did at Key yesterday, I thought was cool. We always call it dietary restrictions, and they call it dietary considerations there. And I'm going to take that home with me. I thought that was nice. But if you don't come eat, I don't make money, and so, it's our job. When people don't want noodles at Toki, I'm still going to charge them $15, and I'm just happy that I don't have to give them the noodles, so that's a win for me,
We often will ask the guests when they're making reservations if there's any dietary restrictions, and then we try to explain to the service staff to ask those questions at the start of the meal if there's anything that we need to take into consideration for you folks when you're dining.
Would you ever say no to anything?
I mean, we're not allowed to. Does it get frustrating at times? Of course, but kind of what Eric said, it's our job. And there's plenty of things raw and then walk in that we can create something maybe off the menu or however to accommodate a diner's needs when it comes to
mean, on my side, Trois Mecs is a restaurant with set menu, so you eat what I want, okay? So you make reservation online and you pay before, okay? But the beginning when I opened the restaurant, I said no allergy, because it's a nightmare. And after I say, you know what, okay, I'm going to be nice. And so I ask everybody when they do reservation to let me know if they have any allergy. So when I arrive, I know everything about you, everything. So like this, we are prepared the kitchen. I mean, like Eric and Alicia say, it's about hospitality. So hospitality, we have no choice to please the customer. But it's both sides. Don't be an ass when it comes to a restaurant and just say, you know, okay, fine, but just be nice, you know. And some people are just so mean, it's crazy, you know, you just have a way to say it, and, you know, of course. But when you go to a French restaurant and you say, you know, no dairy, that's hard for me. Okay, guys, it's okay, okay, madame, okay, monsieur, I'm going to try my best, you know, but sometimes, you know, recipe, I mean, yeah, you know, I use cream and butter, guys, you know, I do. But no, it's really I mean, like you say, guys, it's really our job to please the guest, you know, please the guest.
I think we have time for one more question. So.
Oh, thanks. So you mentioned before food trucks, and you know, I'm sitting here thinking franchises. So big picture, like, what is the ultimate goal? Is it just to have 2 or 3 restaurants, small, like you said, Ludo, that you can manage everything? Is it to grow bigger? Is it to build a brand and become something more? How does that all work?
I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, on my side, yeah, I want to stay with a small restaurant, but you have some brand I want to develop. Like, I have a concept, Ludo Bird, which is a fried chicken restaurant. I have 2 now. It's something I want to develop, you know. But the fine dining room area, I just want to stay small. You have different way how to see food. You know, you have the chain, and you have we'll say, not the frou-frou, the fine dining room, but I know Trois Mecs, I cannot replicate that because I need to be there. I mean, it's a set menu, it's a menu change every day. But you have some restaurant like Petit Trois. Petit Trois is a very classic French restaurant. I want to open 10 like this, definitely. So you have different. It makes sense, what I'm saying? Yeah, okay.
I definitely think it's all personal opinion, but food trucks probably is the easiest way to get your foot in the door and then build your brand that way, and then if it becomes brick and mortar, and then, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But it's very flooded here in this town, so it's interesting.
No chains for me. I should have already done it with the ramen shop, but I like to do the projects for the artistic, that intrinsic value of it, and I think if it's not artistically interested, not just on the food side, but on the architect side, on the graphic design side, on the packaging side, that's what's really fun for me. And then I don't think I'll ever open another place with my own money, so that's the only way, you know, it'll just be paid, you know, if there's a patron or a hotel or a developer. And then I will only go into a condo building if they give me a condo. That's my rule. That's why there's no restaurant in a condo building. That hasn't happened yet. But, you know, hey, just letting you guys know. I'm very happy with my life and spend time with my wife and my kids, so I don't try to do any more projects unless it's like I have this burning artistic desire to do it, because I'd rather just go home and hang out, unless if there's like a calling. But
I think that's all the time we have, but thank you so much for coming
Thank
out.
you very much.
Please thank our